My lords, obviously every star system is unique, but some, as it happens, are more unique than others, as you will soon find out. In this report, we are going to go through each of these special systems and detail why they are worthy of discussion. There are 25 such star systems, and many of these I've covered in greater detail in longer reports. In this report, however, we shall cover each of the unique star systems in a summary, but if you wish for more detail, I encourage you to search them up via the database. We shall begin with the Seddom system. The Seddom system contains a large astral tear, and upon entering the system it becomes quite apparent that the tear was gradually shrinking, seemingly entirely by itself, almost as if someone or something was working to repair it or close the potential breach. Outside of the tear's envelope, there were no less than 11 planetoid bodies, all in various states of shroud. The swirling planets were wreathed in darkness, and further analysis revealed that they are in fact arranged with mathematical precision. Millennia ago, some incredible force orchestrated the orbitable bodies of this system into a specialized pattern, and in doing so appear to have mitigated the effects of the tear and preventing it spreading to the wider galaxy. We watched as the tear sealed itself, and just before it winked out of existence, a radio message came out, thanking several of what we assume to be individuals for fixing our galaxy. Perhaps we have these godlike beings, whoever they are, to thank for saving our entire existence. The Orvall system. The Orvall system is imbued in a golden nebula, and is guarded by a small Tiyanki fleet. It contains the broken world of Amor Alveo, on which the archaeological dig site codenamed Desiccated rests. The Desiccated dig site is where we discovered the Mycelium listening array, a galaxy-wide fungoid plant called the Fungus, which is able to communicate across the vast distances of space with its offspring. The Zevox system. The Zevox system contains a barren moon called 02, which has on it the crash ship archaeology site. Upon exploring the crash ship site, you learn about a group of machines who broke away from their hive mind and attempted to commune with the Shroud. They were successful, and they appear to have made a pact, or at least been assisted, by an entity called the Animator of Clay. We speculate as to whether or not this is an offshoot or a separate entity entirely from the Composer of Strands, but the key takeaway here is to understand that robotic life has breached the Shroud. Perhaps robots have a soul after all. Polaris. The Polaris system contains a large ocean world and the One Last Hope archaeological site. Interestingly, the planet is defended by a small automated fleet consisting of 7 cruisers, and they're all named after glacial formations. The fleet is hostile, however not particularly aggressive, and simply blocks any approach to the system's star. Upon completing the dig site, we learned that the Polarians destroyed their Arctic world through over-industrialization and pollution. The one glacial planet they had melted into a giant ocean world and left them unable to survive. They did manage to document and safely lock away several 100,000 different plant species in a great seed vault, and it would seem that this endeavour became their one last hope. The Hauer system. The Class G system contains a unique object, the Tannhauser Gate. This gateway, despite being a marvellous creation, is totally inert, and we don't know who built it or why. But we do know, due to the dig site designated Never Forget, that these aliens took great care and pride in remembrance. On the planet in this system, we found an alien tomb, transmitting a weak signal. The signal spoke of an individual of great importance, of a life's work worthy of remembrance and veneration, and ultimately a civilization in mourning. The message ends simply with the words, "Time to die." The Ultima Vigilis system. Ultima Vigilis is an odd system indeed. It does not have any hyperlane connections and can only be entered via jump drives. It contains a single machine world called Observation Terminal, and has the dig site we designated Ancient Robot World. The system is guarded by Fallen Empire fleets, each one made up of 1 Titan, 5 battlecruisers and 20 escorts. We speculated in great detail about the nature of this system. We wonder if it is built by the enigmatic hunters, those who pursue the Pythorian Scourge. We wonder if it's somehow linked to the contingency, perhaps a listening array for empires who seek to create a Class 30 singularity. It could even be linked to the Unbidden, whom, if we are to believe the entity on the other end of the listening device, are summoned at their behest. Although perhaps they are simply a tool. We hope in time we will learn the truth once and for all. Odryskia. The Odryskia system contains an asteroid called the Cabin, and on this asteroid we found the crystal of Odryskia via the archaeological site, the Debris Belt. With this crystal we found a number of concerning entries, formed into a diary of sorts. It would appear that the alien who originally found the crystal lost his wife and daughter in a 5-decade-long search for riches as he slowly slipped into madness. Eventually the alien finally found what he was chasing for so long, but by the time he did, it was too late. He was old and dying, and it's quite a sad story indeed. The crystal, however, is fantastic and benefits our empire greatly. Gish. Gish contains a Class B star and a shielded world, and regular listeners of my reports will know what is behind that shield. The infamous Prikti, the little reptilian aliens intent on wiping out all life in our galaxy. Of course, when we chose to bring down the shield covering their homeworld, we did not know the horror that we would unleash on the galaxy. Hindsight indeed. Ubogleelt. The Ubogleelt system is guarded by what appears to be a lone lost Pythorian Scourge drone. The system contains a broken world and 3 moons, 2 of which are barren, but one of which is a Gaia world. A small one, however. The Gaia world is partially infested with a Scourge locus, but it can be settled upon if one wishes. We speculate that this lone locust is a scout for a larger Scourge fleet, or perhaps was left behind when the Scourge potentially ravaged our galaxy previously. Klendath. The Klendath system contains 2 barren worlds and a moon. It's defended by an ancient mining drone. The planet holds the crashed starship archaeological dig site, which once excavated tells a terrible tale of an alien crew who crashed here and slowly went mad. Their acts range from committing suicide to cannibalism and even worshipping a corpse as a deity. They experienced a very messy end to their existence. The Larionessi Refuge. The Larionessi Refuge contains the remains of a plantoid hive mind empire who cloned themselves and stored their entire surviving empire in an underground facility to attempt to escape a bacterial plague which was used as a genocidal weapon by another empire in an attempt to end a long-running war. The plague worked, but nevertheless, through their cloning technology, the Larionessi survived. They are now serving as a vassal state to our empire. Gargantua. The black hole system Gargantua houses the entity known as the Infinity Machine. Like many items in the list, I've covered the Infinity Machine in great detail elsewhere, but it's worth pointing out that it's quite marvellous indeed, and unlike most of the entities that roam our galaxy, it's quite friendly. We helped it solve an equation it had been working on for several thousand years, and it was most grateful indeed. Shallash. Shallash contains what is potentially the saddest story in our galaxy. Shallash was once the home of a long-dead civilization. It includes a tomb world, surrounded by 6 moons in an equidistant orbit. If we've understood the data collected from these dig sites, this system was once occupied by a highly advanced pacifistic race. They maneuvered the moons into orbit around their world in a marvellous display of art. The xenophobic isolationist Fallen Empire, however, for an unknown reason, utterly destroyed this empire, obliterating their homeworld entirely. A single battlecruiser continues to patrol the system, left as a warning to all who would challenge them. Xraneax. The Xraneax system contains a Class G star and a tomb world guarded by a missile-equipped destroyer. The tomb world is lifeless, but for whatever reason this automated dreadnought continues to patrol it. We chose to leave the ship in peace and designated the planet simply the Lone Defender. Sanctuary. Sanctuary contains an abandoned ringworld that we believe was once the property of the enigmatic observers, i.e. the xenophilic Fallen Empire. Sanctuary appears to be originally created to act as a nature preserve and to house primitive life. The system was abandoned but left guarded by an automated defensive system. Upon entering the system, we were contacted by the AI controlling the system defenses. It effectively warned us from approach. However, once the defenses were bypassed, we had access to 4 functioning ring segments, each housing a different primitive species. Hillos. The Hillos system is quite unexplainable. It contains a ghost ship that appears to be a similar design to that of the Contingency or the Cybrex, and it patrols the system. The ship is identified to our IDFs as a science vessel, although it flags as aggressive. It has no weapon signatures that we can detect. There is also a debris field orbiting a nearby planet. We are unsure if there is any link between the debris and the vessel. Wenkwort. The Wenkwort system is similar to Sanctuary in that it was once owned but is now abandoned. Wenkwort houses a Gaia world, which appears to have once operated as a sort of planetary garden. It is incredibly beautiful, perhaps one of the most beautiful places we have ever been in the galaxy. The system has a few automated defense stations, and upon landing on the planet, we are contacted by a robotic custodian who effectively gives us a choice. Either we treat the planet with respect and do not industrialize it, or we fight for it. We picked up a not insignificant number of drones preparing to attack us should we decide to industrialize this world. Federation's End. Federation's End is a black hole system, and it contains 2 habitat complexes, both orbiting broken planets, and both inhabited by a pre-FTL civilization in the Atomic Age. We wonder if both civilizations were once on friendly terms. Did they destroy one another in a firestorm? Perhaps the answer is lost to time. Tiyana Vek. Tiyana Vek is the breeding ground of the Tiyanki space whales. It contains an F-class star which is very closely orbited by several gas giants. The entire zone around the star appears to be thick with gaseous fumes, which, if we understand correctly, the space whales consume. Thus it is a fitting home for our space whale friends. Tiyun Ort. Tiyun Ort is also a system occupied by space whales. This one, however, has a slightly more sinister undertone. At the heart of the system lies a grave mound of several giant Tiyanki matriarchs, all dead and decayed together. We explored this grave mound and found within a potentially intelligent Tiyanki, directing the growth of the structure. Unfortunately, in our haste to get inside, our mining equipment killed the beast, and sadly the tale ended there. Amor Alveo. Continuing on the theme of space fauna, Amor Alveo is home to the space amoebas. A trinary system coated with a thick layer of gas is where the baby amoebas, just like bubbles, are spawned into life. The Parvus system. Parvus is unique due to a nanite swarm orbiting a fairly large desert planet. Upon studying the nanites, several choices become apparent. You can continue to passively study the swarm, you could of course attempt to destroy it, or you could attempt to tame it. We decided to attempt to work with the swarm, and were quite fortunate indeed, as upon fully understanding their capabilities, the swarm began to terraform the once desert planet into a luscious Gaia world. Quite the find indeed. Paridayda. The Paridayda system was found after excavating an ancient space hulk. Records found aboard the hulk led us to a previously unmapped system. It contained little of note beyond a barren world, but we took the time to investigate the planet and eventually discovered a cloaked world that was hidden to us. It was a large Gaia world containing a Stone Age civilization called the Maradak Vol. It must also be stated that this planet was exceptionally beautiful. Not long after we built a starbase in the system, another empire arrived and attempted to purge the Stone Age civilization on the planet. We refused them entry and wiped out the would-be aggressors. Their motives remain unknown. Helito. The Helito system led us down a long path of subterfuge and ploys. In brief, Helito is a binary system, and in exploring this system, we discovered a race of aliens that had the capabilities to create and destroy the very hyperlanes themselves. They occupied another system called Dacha, which contained several beautiful Gaia planets. And finally, the 25th unique system is the Ketling systems, also known as the Junk Rattlings. We originally found a pulsar system containing a tomb world planet called the Ruinous Core, which was orbited by a tomb world called Lost Encampment, as well as various debris scattered throughout the system. A nearby system also contained another 3 tomb worlds: Silent Colony, Decayed Hub, and Crumbling Borough. A third system contained Fallen Outpost. Approximately 25 to 35 years after exploring these systems, a new species called the Ketling emerged. They were primitive, rat-like aliens, but within another 25 years they had acquired FTL tech and joined us in the stars, calling themselves the Ketling Star Pack. We believe that their empire was originally wiped out by a crisis-level event. The Ketlings were in fact primitives that the original empire kept as pets before their eventual demise. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope that's been enjoyable. If you want to hear more Stellaris lore, please click the video on screen now.